Hello everybody, Thijs here again, and this time with another card review, and this might be the last card review we're gonna do before the expansion comes out. Expansion officially announced yesterday, starting at the 26th of April, 27 in Europe. So yeah, I just wanted to do a last card review of all the cards that are being announced now or were announced this week. And the first card we're gonna look at is the Faceless Summoner, and it is a 6 mana 5/5, so stat-wise maybe not that strong. But this card is one of the best cards, and maybe even I can see like this card is for sure top 3 from what is announced now, in my opinion. 6 mana 5/5 battle cry, summon a random 3-cost minion, and it's a mage specific card. But the battle cry is such a powerful effect. Where we had the Shredder before as a death rattle, we now have a mage card that summons a random 3-cost minion as a battle cry. So even directly on the board, you have a 6 mana 5/5, and well, the average stat might be in 3/3, I would say. But you can get these ridiculous situations where you can get an injured Blade Master, you can get a King Mukla, and there are not that many like horrible 3-drops. I think this card is way too strong. I think this card is undercosted, and I'm not really a big fan of the design where summon a random 3-cost minion, and already having decent stats. Like this card will be played in competitive Hearthstone, and I don't mind a lot of the healthy RNG, but I consider this as not really healthy, where you have these situations, people play the card, and yeah, sometimes it's just gonna be insane and you can't do much about it. It's also just uncommon, so you can just play 2 of it in your decks. It's also a really cheap card people gonna pick up in Arena. So yeah, it's gonna be a super strong 6-drop, I think, for mage. Cannot say much more about it. Hopefully... Yeah, I think it's gonna be good in Tempo Mage. I was like considering how it will be in Freeze Mage, but it just doesn't fit the deck. But in any type of just mage that plays on board, I think this card is gonna be really good. Just having a 6-drop that has reasonable stats, a bit underpowered. But I mean, getting a 3-drop just on board, I mean, you get so much power on board, and yeah, there is a lot of variance. It's really hard to face. Of course, there is not always gonna be an injured Blade Master. In average, it should be in 3/3, maybe 3/4, but I think 3/3. And yeah, it's gonna be an annoying card to face, I would say. I think it's gonna be really... I don't mind having these battle cries, but I will prefer having these cards more, not too much dominating the competitive scene. I would love to have these cards, but more for the for maybe the later casual play. Not really, because this card is, I think, too strong and will be seen a lot in competitive Hearthstone. It's just a kind of new Shredder, and even without the Death Rattle, just a battle cry even faster. So yeah. And the same day was also another mage card announced. It is the Servant of Yogg-Saron. Cast a random spell that costs 5 or less, target chosen randomly. So they are going full Yogg-Saron mode, so a bit with yeah, the YOLO effect of the spells. I mean, 5 mana 5/4 is not that bad. It's if you see what 5-drops are played now, you have the Ezra Drake, you have Harrison, and they both have also a battle cry. And this card falls a bit into the same way, unless that this card can be like hurting you. There are a lot of because people already did the research, and the cards that are chosen randomly should still benefit you more often than benefiting your opponent. But yeah, it's still like a way more tricky card to play. But yeah, there are like so many, like there are endless outcomes possible with this card. There are so many spells. It can be on yourself, can be on your opponent, can be on minions. Like, it's so much randomness, and actually a bit the same story as last card. I really don't enjoy the randomness of it. This card is worse because, yeah, like it can also hurt you, but the stats are still reasonable. So whenever you see this card, it can still hurt you so much, and it is not an unplayable card in competitive Hearthstone. I'm really a bit sad that this card is also here now. I would say I would have preferred it having more weaker stats, just not being dominating the competitive Hearthstone at all. I still think the card is not that good, and you won't see it much, but maybe I like... You really have to figure out how this card is gonna work out, and I would be sad if these cards are gonna make competitive Hearthstone. There will be too much randomness, unhealthy randomness happening, and I hope the card is I still think the card is luckily not that good, also for competitive Hearthstone. It will be a fun card for everybody to play, hopefully, more in the casual scene, but I really hope that these like really big random cards are not gonna be too much involved into the competitive scene. But yeah, just the concept of the card, of course, super great. I don't know, it's 5 less. Like these cards are like impossible to review. Like endless situations happening, all the randomness. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, and here we have the new Rogue card revealed. 5 mana 4/4. So stats wise, you immediately think of the Azure Drake. At least I always think 5 mana 4/4 with a battle cry. It's like an Azure Drake. Azure Drake has a really powerful battle cry. So can this card compare with it? Shadowcaster. Choose a friendly minion. So you can choose a friendly minion, add a 1/1 copy to your hand that costs 1. So effect really powerful, and in Rogue this is even more powerful because Rogue is one of the classes that can really abuse this effect, where you copy a card, you either copy a combo card, you copy a card that has some good battle cry, or because all the Rogue cards have some kind of battle cry, or they have spell damage. So really a good concept for Rogue. Really like this concept. Happy that this card is here. The card might be hard to pull off because you have to choose a friendly minion. So for 5 mana, you have to be on board already. Like people are talking about the Gracie Malygos you can pull out. But Malygos has to be on board. Then you copy the Malygos. So that will never really happen. The cards you might want to copy are like the mid-range drop, the Teacher, the Azure Drake. Like you don't really want to Telnos and copy and Telnos that badly. But I guess you are fine with that. But maybe even it might be some mid-range Rogue also. Like I can see this card also fitting like the Reno Rogues that you sometimes see. It's a really flexible in that way also. Whatever I mean, imagine you are low on lives, people are rushing you, you have a heal bot on the board, you play this card and you have your second heal bot for 1 mana. Like, you want this minion to copy a minion with a good, super powerful battle cry, and Rogue is playing these cards for sure. You can also imagine like Edwin copy. You copy the Edwin, and you play this, you play a Backstep or another card, and you play an Edwin for 1 mana. Like, it's gonna be, there are a lot of good ways, because Rogue is full with combo cards and with battle cries. The card will be the best on the more mid-range minions, because that will be easier to pull off. But this card is good. It's gonna be good. It's the first Rogue card I really say, yeah, I like it, and you can see it, and it is powerful. The problem is the 5 slot. Azure Drake is like the best card in Rogue, so I don't think you can really replace that. I will still probably play Azure Drake. 5 mana 4/4 is fine. Maybe people are gonna cut off Sprint. I mean, this is some kind of draw too. It's not a real draw, but you copy a card, you gain a card. I mean, whatever you copy, maybe that also gains a card. So, yeah, excited for this card. Really, really excited. Love it. And we have here the Forlorn Stalker. The first time I saw this, guys, I thought they nerfed BGH. It was like a 3 mana 4/2. I saw the gun and I was like, what? Did they nerf BGH? And then I was like, it was just a 1 second thinking, but nope, not a BGH. It really looks like him in my opinion, but yeah. It's a hunter specific card. Battle Cry, give all Death Rattle minions in your hand +1/+1. And actually the problem a bit with this card might be, and I think will be, is that there are not many Death Rattles anymore. Like the Creeper's going out, the Death Lord's going out, the Egg is going out. Like all the Death Rattles are gonna be gone. The only Death Rattle that is left for Hunter now is High Main. And do you want a 7/6 High Main so that it can be BJs? I don't think you play just this specific card to buff High Main. Another problem is it's not a beast. This is not a card you play in an aggro Hunter, not in Face Hunter. So it has to be like getting a spot in mid-range Hunter. And I don't think it will be. And really there are like almost no Death Rattles left. I think Blizzard will still come out with some Death Rattles. But there is like one Death Rattle for Hunter now. So, and yeah, maybe there is like one or two, like some more Death Rattles just for every class, but really not that much. And I think this card is like, it can never take the place of an animal companion. It will never do. And because the Battle Cry for me feels irrelevant, it's not a beast. I don't think this card is gonna be any oh yeah, you have the huge toad. That's true. You have the toad. But that's it. That's it. That's not enough. You need to play like... You have to compare it with like what is being played for 3 mana now. That's Unleash. That's Kill Command. That's Bow. The Eagle Horn Bow. That's Animal Companion. But yeah. The stats are fine. Effect is okay. But I just... At the moment the effect is not gonna give... It's not really... It doesn't really fit any of what anything what is Hunter supposed to do at the moment. So yeah, maybe some cool concepts will happen if there are coming a bit more Death Rattle cards out. But besides that, I think I mean it's always a fine card to pick up in Arena because it has reasonable stats. But yeah, for the effect I don't see it being played, and the 3 slot from Hunter is too filled already. And what do we have here? We have the Demented Frostcaller. After you cast a spell, freeze a random enemy. And when I see the word freeze, I of course immediately think of Freeze Mage. But this card cannot be good enough in Freeze Mage, sadly. It's a 4 mana 2/4. So we are paying a lot for 4 mana. If I can play a 2 mana 2/4, I don't even know if I will play it. But maybe I will consider it. And... after you cast a spell, so you have to cast a spell with it, and then you freeze a target. The cards you can compare it with is a bit like the Water Elemental, that is a 4 mana 3/6, really good stats, really good. And freezes the minion it attacked, so instead of you need to attack it, it can freeze randomly, so you don't have to attack, but you have to play a spell, and that's not easy always. So really, bad stats, hard to pull off. It's not a turn 4 play, it's like a turn 6 play. There might be decks like if you can make it with like a lot of spells it can work, but why would you play it instead of like a Flame Waker? That effect is way better. Like freezing is cool, but it's still frozen, like it still stays there. There has to come a solution in some future turns, and for Freeze Mage this is not gonna be better than Nova. Freeze Mage doesn't play for board, they play for, they just freeze it, they want the AoE freezes. This is not an AoE freeze, and from what I heard, I don't think Blizzard said it, but I asked the question and they said that it could also freeze a target twice, so I'm like, yeah. Then you even have the randomness of not getting the freeze off on multiply minions. If it would cost less, it might have been viable. If the stats will have been better, it might be viable. I think everything is low and it doesn't just fit in any kind of mage deck. And freeze it's a good, it is an okay effect, but it's still, you still have to do something afterwards, so it still stays there. And yeah, it's not an AoE freeze, so it will also not have any place it will not have any place in a freeze mage. Oh, they have to confirm that it won't refreeze. Okay, that's good. That's good. But still, I think it's gonna be not strong enough. We'll see. Maybe there are some cool decks that can really be like, you want to play it as an index, you have Flamewaker in now to play it with a lot of spells. But Flamewaker is just better, and Water Elemental I just like more. This is not a turn 4 play, and I think that's the thing that hurts the most with it. And what do we have here? We have the Shifting Shade. It is a priest card, 4 mana 4/3. So 4 mana 4/3 Death Rattle. So the card I'm immediately thinking of is the Pilot Shredder. Card is gonna go. Pilot Shredder will rotate out, of course, but this card has the same stats. So we just look at the card, 4 mana 4/3 Death Rattle, same as Shredder. Copy a card from your opponent's deck and add it to your hand. So what we are doing is we copy a card from our opponent by playing a 4 mana 4/3. So you can see there's a 4 mana 4/3 loot hoarder kind of concept from your opponent. So what are the 4 drops that are drawing now? You have the Noving. You have of course the Inventor, but that's a 2/4 and draws immediately. This one draws after. I think it's an. I think it's good that this card is a priest card, because priest is like one of the classes that can play these slower cards. The 4 mana 4/3 cards, wrong card. Only problem is like a lot of cards from other decks don't always fit like a priest deck. Priest is a defensive, and if you place any aggro to mid range, it doesn't always fit the deck. Another card for priest that makes your deck bigger than 30 cards. You already had the Entomb and the Thought Steal. Another card that adds extra cards to your deck to have a better fatigue option. I think this card will be better than the draws that Priest has now. Of course the Cleric is the dominant draw, but Thought Steal is not really that strong of a card at the moment. This is just a minion and you Thought Steal a card. So I think that can just be the better concept for Priest. Not sure if it will fit in any current Priest decks. I think it's a really good card for Arena Priest also. Getting that value, because Priest has the problem of sometimes just having a full hand or an empty hand, I mean, and having a clunky hand and situational cards, like all these spells that are really situational. So yeah, I like these more the more consistent cards also for a Priest deck. We'll see if it's really gonna be strong enough. I'm not a really Priest expert, so it's for me really hard to say if this is gonna fit in any kind of deck. But yeah, it looks good. It looks okay. I like it. And another mage card, guys. So much mage cards coming out. 3 mana 2/2. Twilight Flamecaller. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. So it has already the from the Arcane Explosion effect in his minion. 3 mana 2/2. Like, the first thing, I don't know how good deal 1 damage to all enemies is gonna be anymore. Because the Muster is rotating out. Muster of Battle, what was the dominant token card. Implosion was the other dominant token card. And they are just both gonna be out of the in the standard mode at least. So I don't know how good these 1 damage to all enemies is gonna be. I think it will get really much weaker. I don't think it's gonna be good enough. It's also stats wise weak card. I don't know why Mage Vault. Maybe in Arena it can be more reasonable because it's more focused on value, but it's still a questionable value card. So I think this card is not good. 3 mana 2/2 is really weak. It's like a 1-drop with a, like, stats wise it's just a 1-drop. Would you play in 1 mana 2/2? Probably you can. I think like that's good. But yeah, I don't think it's just gonna kill much anymore. And there are so many more powerful stuff, way more consistent cards you can play, that I don't think this card will make it. Might be a cool card for in the wild mode indeed, but that's really it, I would say. It's more like a counter card that doesn't really counter anything at the moment. That's how I see it for now. Oh, and this is the card I'm also really hyped about. The new legendary for Hunter, Princess Huhuran. Battle Cry triggers friendly minions' death rattles effect. As I said already by the last Hunter card, there are not many death rattles. So I really expect some death rattles coming out. Blizzard really tries to make like a death rattle Hunter thing. But there are not that many death rattles. All the death rattles are rotating out. And we only have the high main that is a death rattle now. In standard, at least. In Bald, we of course still have the Web Spinner, the Creeper and other cards. But now we only, yeah, you have the Toad and you have the high main. So, what is so good about this stats, or about this card is, it's a 5 mana 6/5. And that are really, really good stats. 5 mana 6/5, even if it doesn't do anything else, it is like, what are the 5-drops that are being played? Like Druid of the Claw, like it just has an insane stats into a Druid of the Claw for 4/6. It has the high main stats, so you can know, like, that already says that it's really good. It's better that, like, it dominates Azure Drake. It's a really good, like, the stats are so good. 5 mana 6/5. The Battle Cry I'm not so sure about. You need to play like a lot of low drops. Like you want to play this on curve probably. So you want to like have 1 or 2 minions and let the Battle Cry already trigger. That is so that's when and it is a beast. Don't forget it's a beast. Like that's always good for Hunter. So yeah, if there are like a bit more death rattles there, and death rattles are a bit beast oriented maybe, I think this card is gonna be good. Like this card cannot be bad at all, just because of the stats. It will always be reasonable. So I think this card is just good, and it has the potential to become a really, really strong card and become yeah, just one of the cards you want to play in your mid-range Hunter decks. But that really depends on if there are coming more death rattles out, because at the moment there are not enough death rattles in my opinion. But yeah, it's already an okay card, so it can only get better for this card. We'll see how it will work out. A really cool new legendary for the Hunter. And we have another Druid card that is specifically made for Cthulhu. And this is already the second one. We already had what was the 4 or the 5-drop. But now we have the Dark Arakkoa, 6 mana 5/7. So stats wise, 6 mana 5/7 is it's okay, right? 6 mana 5/7. What do we have as 6 drops now? It's like Emperor, Sylvanas, and it trades well in both. Well, you don't really want to trade in Sylvanas. It has Taunt. So compared to the Druid of the Claw, what is a 5 mana 4/6, this is a 6 mana 5/7. Has Taunt. So really comparable with that. Really okay card. Battle Cry, give your Cthulhu +3/+3. Well, not bad, right? Not bad. This is a card that will be played in every Cthulhu deck. If you are playing a Cthulhu Druid deck, of course. Really good stats, really strong Cthulhu effect. If it's gonna be strong enough in decks that are not revolving Cthulhu, probably not. But might be. It also dodges a lot of like there's no 4, 5, 6 drop that trades well into it. So the taunt effect on these cards, like it's not an Ancient of War, and it's a bit better in Druid of the Claw. So it's really like, yeah, it's like what you want to pay for 6 mana. You can pay 6 mana for this, totally fine. And yeah, it makes Taunt Druid strong. I think Cthulhu Druid is like looking pretty strong. I will try that deck try out a lot. But if you can make a Cthulhu Druid deck with a lot of the Cthulhu cards that are good already, and you put in like some extra taunts, you play in Wild Growth, you play Innervate, you just give that, like, Druid is one of the cards that can abuse the Cthulhu hard, because they can cheat with their mana. So you can get earlier on these cards, you curve out well, and yeah, so it doesn't have bad matchups because of the insanely hard ramp. Also, Druid has really strong cards already, so I guess Blizzard is still gonna change some of the Druid cards, but this is a really good card for Cthulhu. Cthulhu Druid, so we'll for sure see it. Pretty hyped about it. And here is the last card that Blizzard revealed. I think everybody is excited about this one, but it is, I love this card, to be honest. I love him. 1 mana, 1/1 legendary, and you guys are like, what? How can a 1 mana 1/1 be a legendary? Well, there is an amazing effect. It is the Shifter Zerus. Each turn, this is in your hand, transform it into a random minion. So, what is gonna happen? You got this card, and every turn you just got another card for it. Like, every turn you get, it changes to another minion, and then again, and again, and it keeps changing until you are like, oh, let's play it. I don't think it's good, because, I mean, yeah, it's really flexible. That's the positive thing, but, like, it's so heavily RNG involved, and playing a card for that effect, I don't know. I just love the cards that are having the this kind of RNG, but are a bit weak. Because if these cards are gonna be good, it might hurt the competitive scene. But this card is just a cool, fun card. I don't think it's gonna hurt. It's just a cool, fun legendary to have in your deck. And yeah, I don't know. It's a cool legendary. I like it. So this is amazing just to play for in fun decks. And you will have a lot of fun moments with it. It's a cute card indeed. And yeah, we'll see. It's not a good card. Like the average minion, we have a pretty big card pool, and the average, and on average you will just get bad minions that are overpriced, so you don't want to play it in competitive decks. But the concept is cool, and sometimes it's really important to have these kind of concepts also in Hearthstone, that there can come really fun moments, and maybe there will be decks where these cards are like perfect for. We'll see. It's gonna be at least super fun. So yeah, that was the card review for now, guys. Last card review that we had. We reviewed all the cards. Next week expansion is gonna be out. Maybe there will be something that I wanna review on too in the meantime, but we will see. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching the last card review before Whispers of the Old God.